Not done yet, honey. Soon. And she wants to help wrap the last of the Christmas gifts. And even though this is a non-alcoholic beer review, and good day, welcome to another episode of the non-alcoholic beer review with the Albino Rhino. Anything, even if it's non-alcoholic, I don't like the kids involved in it. So she's just not. She's waiting. She's waiting patiently. This is Craft Pale Ale. So Craft, CR, and then I guess an at, FT, Craft. Easygoing Pale Ale. These guys are brewed in Alberta. What do we got here? Where is it? I believe this is Village Brewing Company. Produced by, yes, Village Brewery in Calgary, Alberta. We're looking at 35 calories for the entire can. That's actually pretty good. That 355 milliliter can from Stanley Park was 50. This is a 473 at 35. The lowest I've seen is probably Partake's Pale IPA. Partake IPA was what, 10 for a 355 milliliter can, and was like exact 0% alcohol, but tasted like a beer. We have no fat. Carbohydrates is 7 grams, and 3 grams is sugar. So again, that's actually still better. It's the same amount of sugar, but it's 3 grams of carbs less per 473 than was in the 350, 355. Protein 1 gram. Cholesterol, nothing. Sodium, 75 milligrams or 3%. So this is a saltier beverage. Potassium, 75 milligrams or 2%. Calcium, nothing. Iron, 1 milligram. I've liked the Village beers I've had thus far. And this is a crown can. We got the crown symbol. We got a crown can. Do we have a good date? My date is smudged, so I'm not 100% sure. Whether they do expiry or canned on. But hey, who cares, right? I do like the look of this. This does remind me of a real beer. I mean, it reminds me of some of the older craft beers, like the original, say the original Cameron's labels and stuff. Hey, did you guys hear that? Silversmith Brewing Company in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and I know this isn't about this, but they just purchased Black Oak in Etobicoke. Not a brewery I thought you would buy, especially since Silversmith actually has more brewing capacity than Black Oak. And unlike Black Oak, yes, Silversmith has stayed with a lot of the same beers, but they still put out more one-offs than Black Oak does. And they still, even though are newer, have more of a market share with the Silversmith Black Lager than Etobicoke's Black Oak had with the Nut Brown and the Pale, even though the Nut Brown was a fantastic beer. Anyway, back to Village's Craft Pale Ale. I always kind of knew Kenwood would sell. I just thought it would have been earlier than this. Okay, that's a beautiful color. Wow. Nice amber color, a little bit of haze to it. Off-white head. Looks awesome. I love the look of that. That is a great looking beer. So before I get to the smell or anything, one of the things I always talk about on non-alcoholic beers, at least in the last little bit, is would I be able to make my friends think I'm drinking or people around me think I'm drinking real beer? And that matters to me as well because of the fact that I have had people push alcohol on me when I didn't want to drink. Everybody has. So if you have something that looks the part, usually you're left alone. Does this look like a non-alcoholic beer? Would you be able to tell just by looking at it? No, because the only part of it that says non-alcoholic doesn't even say non-alcoholic. It's just the 0.3 down here. So just looking at this, the only thing that really gives it away is the nutritional label, which you don't usually see on a beer. The glass, put that in front of me, that looks like I have a fucking beer in front of me. So I'm good with that. Really good with that. I see 2 comments from Chris, and again, we will get to those, Chris. Scent. Okay, that has almost a wet hop scent, but that just just plain floral note, like almost like a little bit of malty sweetness and chrysanthemums mixed together. Out of the glass, the glass is nothing really. Smells like a lot of beers out of your usual just fucking glass. It just smells like a beer. And what was that comment? Good memory, yes. Partake is mind-boggling. 10 calories for black wood getting purchased. That screams. I'm just getting tired. Can't say that brewery has done much. Yeah, and that's the thing. Black Oak has not done a lot. Ken is a great guy in the industry, and yeah, I think Ken's just gonna. Ken was of a more advanced. Ken was probably when he started in the industry the age I am now, so he was already of an advanced age. When I first met him, he was in his late 40s, early 50s, and that was years and years ago. So yeah, you get tired and you don't want to do it anymore. And when you're fighting and you fought through the pandemic and everything else and being closed with no restaurant, because he had modeled his business after he modeled his business more off of foot traffic coming in from the locals that were very close, like people that lived across the street and all that just wanted to come in and get a six pack, and modeled his business after licensees, because there was a lot of places that we need a nut brown, or we want a dark beer, let's get this nut brown. We want a pale ale, they're local, let's get there. So he modeled his business in a way that was hard to survive what ended up hitting. Looks good, smells okay. Let's try it. Cheers. Okay, so I've said before I like Village Brewing Company. I'm not 100% sure I like this. I love the visual of it. A lot of, even with the fact that there is so many new and improved and weird and wonderful non-alcoholic beers coming out, a lot of them are still just gold. So to see a beautiful amber colored beer just makes my heart smile. And again, no one, if you're trying to hide that you're not drinking, no one is going to realize that you're not drinking off of either of these. Regardless of how you hold this can, unless you're eagle-eyed, you're not seeing that 0.3 easily. I like this. Together, I like it. Flavor isn't bad. I mean, I've had a lot of worse non-alcoholic beers, but it's not as good as the last few non-alcoholic beers I've had in the last few weeks / months since coming to Deer Lake. I was almost going to say I'd probably rather drink a Molson XL over this, but I don't know if I would, because that has that under attenuated flavor to it. There's the tiniest bit of hop flavor to this, tiniest bit of malt flavor, and that's about it. It's very light in body. It's very light on the palate. Um, it's not. It's not great. It's not great, and I think that's why I was thinking maybe I would rather a Molson XL, because Molson XL, though it doesn't taste great, still gives off the feel that I'm drinking a beer. This is kind of like that hop seltzer water that people were selling for a while at breweries. They just make a hopped soda water and be like, hey, we can sell this for a lot of money because there's hops in it. It's kind of like that to me. There's not a lot of flavor at all. That being said, is this something that turns me off at all? No, it isn't. It's just not something that reminds me of drinking the real thing. Yes, They, along with the Great Lakes and a few other breweries, were some of the first. You are correct. Black Oak was one of the first in Ontario. And when you think about it, this is 2022, almost 2023. He sold the last week, well, the last 2 weeks of 2022. So he had been running that business for 23 years. And yeah, he was an accountant by trade who ended up entering the beer market. Um, and yeah, after 23 years, and I know the struggles he had. I was there when the building was completely empty and it was just him sitting there, like, I get it. I do. I don't get Silversmith buying them. Silversmith said they bought them for the added production and everything, but there was a lot of bigger places that could have been available for added production. Your production site is much larger than what Ken had. Unless in the few years since I've been in Ken's brewery, he really expanded, but I don't know why you would do that if you were already contemplating selling, because the last time I talked to him face to face, he was contemplating selling, and that was like 6 years ago. So, yeah. Yeah, I have no complaints about that. There's a lot of non-alcoholic beers that I can complain about. Can't really complain about that other than saying that it doesn't really remind me of drinking a real beer. It's fine. It is. It's fine. What was that there, Chris? Does Silversmith have its own restaurant now? I know that Silversmith had a kitchen, but it was a little tiny thing that would make like a very small menu. And it wasn't them that ran it. They'd always have somebody else running it as a partnership. It's been a long time since I've been back in Niagara. Well, that's a lie. I was in Niagara this year in the summer, but I didn't really go anywhere. Brian took me to one of the new breweries, and we went to Blackburn, and that's the only thing I really did because I was there for all of like 3 hours, dropping my eldest off to her friends, and then I had some people like Jason and Nadine who own Brimstone slash the Sanctuary. They're like, you were in town and you didn't come see me. Dave and Todd at the Cayman Kettle. I'm like, I'm really sorry, guys. I was in and out so fast. I might as well have rented a fucking prostitute room because that's how long I was in town. But anyway, for this, I would probably give this as a non-alcoholic beer. I would give this a 7. I would buy it again as a non-alcoholic beer, as a drink, as a slash beer. And this is where it really tells you whether or not I really, really liked it or not. What would I give this? I would probably give it a 5. There's a lot better non-alcoholic beers out there that are more beer-like, and there's a lot better beverages out there. So this I could drink it. I have no problem with it. As a non-alcoholic beer, it is a-okay. There is no faults in it other than the fact that it's very, very, very mild flavored and doesn't give off a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chris. Ooh, Chris wrote something here. When Budweiser Prohibition came out, it was the same cost as beer with alcohol. Did Budweiser in the end start the boost in non-alcoholic prices? Ooh, that's a really intriguing concept and thought there, because you are right. Non-alcoholic prices have skyrocketed in the last few years, like skyrocketed. And it's kind of insane when you think about it. Some of them, like Excel, are still priced where they used to be priced, and I think it's because you can't really go, hey, here's a product you've been paying $10 for a 12-pack for forever. Let's start charging you 20, right? Like I don't think they can, or 6.90. I don't even know what a case of Molson Excel is anymore. I know if I was to sell it here, it would be 26, which is on par with a case of a 12-pack of pop. And a 12-pack of pop is what, normally like $4.99 to $6.99 in the South. So if we're looking at that type of thing as our cost perspective, and then you look at all these ones that are coming out that are 12, 20, 15. Again, like this was a 4-pack. These were a 4-pack. These were like $12 for the 4-pack. I paid $3 a can. And that's one of the things too, is for me, if I'm paying the price of buying a 4-pack of real premium craft beer, I'm sorry, I had the hiccups there, or real premium macro beer, I better be getting something that really does remind me of actually ingesting beer, and that just doesn't do it. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, you're right. Prohibition was the most expensive when it came out non-alcoholic beer I'd ever seen. Even some of the things like Partake wasn't as expensive as Prohibition, and Partake was miles above. Um, PC Red Brew probably still my favorite, and I don't even know if you can still get it, but probably still my favorite non-alcoholic beer when you consider the flavor, the calories, and the price point. Great beer. And then there was, yeah, other such shit. But yeah, Molson XL is currently $12.99 for a 2-4. Okay, there you go. So a 2-4 is $12.99. So yeah, a 12 pack would be basically exactly like I was saying, around like $5 to $7. So yeah, you're looking at such a different variation in price, and it never was that before. Like all those older beers were those lower prices. Like O'Doul's was pretty low priced. St. Pauli, if you could find it, was pretty low priced. And again, all these are non-alcoholic beers. Caliber, which was the Guinness non-alcoholic beer, very low in price. Um, uh, a lot of times you would find like Grolsch and Heineken at the dollar stores, the non-alcoholic variants. So it's one of those really weird things when you think about how big that price boom was. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Chris, we can talk some more, but I gotta go to the washroom, so I gotta go. Bye-bye.